I'm a little bit worried because we're dealing with a virus, COVID. It seems to me that we're not out of that, and we're dealing with a new headache.
I'm not super surprised because of how we handled like COVID and everything. It's horrible. It's horrible that I didn't even know that. I don't think there's a lot of information out there. I really had to like dig around to find this place even. I'm an immunocompromised person, so it makes me nervous.
I also think the FDA, candidly, always is just like late to the game, and did we not learn anything from the last 2 years of a pandemic?
Monkeypox has been kind of scary. I mean, after COVID, you think that everything is over, and now there's something new. So now it's like, okay, something else to worry about.
It's like any virus, it's important to protect yourself against viruses that we don't have natural immunity against, and this is something that we don't have immunity against, and I highly recommend, just like everyone who got the coronavirus vaccine, to also get the monkeypox vaccine once it's available.
Yeah, the cases are rising, and considering that it's a contact by contact sort of situation, that it's scary. You know, if you take public transportation, I got the vaccine because I'm around people all the time, and I live in a really populated city.
It's definitely, true that there's limited availability of the vaccine, but this was actually relatively easy to get. You just have to go online, make sure that you're staying up to date on all of the available sites for testing and for vaccination. And if you look up your county's vaccine availability, you should be able to make an appointment or do walk-ups. I know this one is appointment-based, but there are walk-up facilities across the county as well.
There's a lot of confusion because, I came here, I already filled out my forms in the internet, and I'm here to get my shot, and they're telling me that I have to do it all over again, and I'm not gonna get it until tomorrow.
If there's been any difficulty, it's been having to drive far distances.
In the beginning, it was a little confusing as to like what made you qualify, and like I would say like where the resources were actually readily available. I think like my first dose, I had to go to like Southeast Los Angeles to get it, and pretty far for considering that the majority of I would say the community that might be affected is based here or a little bit more central. So the fact that there wasn't like a clinic that was stood up or an option that was a little bit closer, I think.
It was really difficult getting the appointment date by myself. Like, they offer an online service where you can get an appointment, but the dates were never available, so I had to call in. They asked me some questions to verify, and they had to set it up, which was kind of counterproductive.
It's all about manufacturing. It's hard to get supplies for anything right now with the pandemic putting a slow on everything.
What's happening right now here in New York City is that we don't have enough doses, but I believe that we're going to have enough like in a couple of weeks probably.
As far as I know, it's the efficacy of the dose is pretty equal depending on your exposure. So I trust that the availability is really important, and making sure that as many people have it as possible is important. So I feel confident in the dose that I'll be getting.
It's a reasonable choice to make for the public to make the vaccine available to more people.
If you look into a little bit more about like the vaccine itself, like after one dose, like a full dose, you are protected pretty well for a long period of time. Getting that second dose, I mean, it basically just extends the life of that. So I think in my mind, getting a second one is great, regardless of how much it is that's being injected into me. I mean, obviously, I wasn't asking exactly what it was.
I get why they're trying to do it, but it's why? I mean, if you lower it for me, you vaccinate me, you lower the dosage, that just means that I'm still going to be susceptible sooner or later. It was the original vaccine was just pointless.
more communication is always better. And then, of course, as always, vaccines are the best way to prevent the spread of disease. So anything they can do to increase production to make sure it's more accessible for folks is going to be the key.
I would say like decrease stigma, increase like awareness generally, and like focus on the areas where like future pandemics could pop up, because like once again we clearly haven't learned anything from the last 2.5 years.
We want to make the vaccine more available.
I think what they did when they got a little bit more serious about COVID, when they like shut things down, they started like funding like programs for like the average people, so they didn't have to like, you know, go to work or like unemployment, like things like that.